Hey everyone, how we doing today? We're going to be talking about Dremel today. Basically, we're going to be talking about the Dremel Flex Shaft accessory, and we're going to be comparing it to the Milescraft Flex Shaft accessory. We'll determine which one's better or worse, what the good parts are, what the bad parts are, and whether it's worth it to buy the more expensive Dremel or whether you can just make do with the Milescraft, or is it as good. If you're getting some useful information out of my videos, I hope you would leave me maybe subscribe and leave me a like. I'd appreciate it. So let's get into it. Okay, today we're talking about flex shafts, and we're going to be using my Dremel 4000 for this demonstration, okay? So first off, we have the Dremel flex shaft. It comes with the flex shaft end on it, square drive cap, and a little wrench. So what you have to do is you have to take off your collet on your Dremel, and you take off the cap because this fits on. You put on your square drive. You can see here it's square on the end. Press down the button, tighten it up, and you can see here that the end of this cable is squared off, and that's what fits in that square drive. So when you start to put it in, you've got to get that in the square drive, and you just screw it on, okay? So after you've done that, you put whatever you're going to use in here into the end. This has a lock button also, so you just turn this till it's tight. And again, with the same wrench you used on here, you're putting this on. Now, one of the interesting things I found about these is there's no spare parts for this flex shaft, okay? This flex shaft, it runs about $34. All right, this whole piece, along with, the square drive and stuff. This is pretty heavy. It's not real tight, flexible, but there's no spare parts for this. So that cable inside this flex is not viable. This part, these parts, because I think this that unscrews too. None of these parts are replaceable. So you basically need to buy a whole new one if you break anything. Now, the other interesting thing is that here, this piece here, this squared end cap is also not found on Dremel's parts page. You can find it. There's a place, I'll put it down in the descriptions. It's called Helton Tool, Home and Tool, and you can buy that square-headed in there. I don't know if you can buy any other parts like that, but that's what's available. So let's see how it works. Start at a slow speed. Looks pretty good. We're going to see how much it wobbles when you get up to a higher speed. Okay, it looks pretty steady. Now, that's one of the reasons that the shaft felt tight. There wasn't a whole lot of vibration, but it's one of the reasons they keep these extensions short. If you use the longer extension, something like this, it can really wobble at the end as you get to higher speeds. So you want to keep the speed a little bit lower. Next up, we're going to show you the Milescraft shaft. All right. So all you do is you just take this apart. You don't even have to press that button to hold it. You just unscrew this and it comes out. Now, for the Milescraft, this is the parts it comes with. It comes with the flexible shaft, and it comes with this round tool. It's not a square drive or hex drive or anything else. It's just round. Now, the idea behind this is in this shaft, you see that hole? Okay, I don't know if you can see that hole or not. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But what you do is you stick this through there, and it holds it. That way, you can put in whatever you're going to put in the end. But there's no tool for this. It's not squared off, okay? The Dremel has a squared off edge. Even though it's knurled, it has a squared off edge, okay? So you can use a wrench to tighten stuff up. On this, you have to use a pair of pliers. So all you can do is your strength and maybe a pair of pliers, but it's knurled, but eventually, if you're using a pair of pliers, it's probably gonna run out. Now, this flex shaft here, again, there's no parts replacements I can find for this. I mean, this unscrews here, and this cap comes off and stuff, but I couldn't find this shaft as a different part. Now, the difference between the flex shaft and this is for using this Milescraft, you take off the square drive. Now, even though the end of this is somewhat squared off and not round all the way up, it's somewhat square, it's not quite as definitive as the flex shaft. You can see how the flex shaft from Dremel is a lot squared off, okay? This one's a little squared off, but not quite as much. So anyway, it doesn't call for using a square head like this. It doesn't come with it. Like I said, it just comes with that tool. So you have to put the collet back in if you're going to use that one. You lock it down. Use your wrench. Oh, I'm sorry. First off, you got to put the shaft in. You got to have it out far enough. That'll open up. Okay, I'm going to have to take this apart and pull that out because I should have put it in there before I tightened it down. Because the collet wants to kind of tighten up in there a little bit. And so you got to put your collet in. Then you put in part way. You put the shaft in. See, that can be a problem. So you got to pull it out a little bit, put that in, and then you can tighten it up. Now, you're not tightening up on a solid rod like you are with the brushes or this extension. This is flexible. So I don't know how long this shaft would last with the collet tightened around it. Now, the other interesting thing is when you tighten this on the Dremel, this cap just spins. This cap on this Milescraft doesn't spin. It actually turns the whole shaft. So then you got to kind of straighten it out afterwards. So we got her set up, and we're going to see how this one feels. Okay? So, looks pretty steady. Increase the speed. It's a little noisier, but it looks like it works about the same as the Dremel flex shaft. Now, you may ask, what do I use these little brushes for? Well, I use them for this, okay? There's a couple of grooves in this piston. And if I want to make sure those grooves are clean, I need this little wire brush. So I put this little wire brush in there and it fits right in that groove, okay? And it fits almost in the other one. Pretty tight, but there's two grooves. And this is what I use these for. It comes in very handy. Now, I will put this extension in because I need to get down on the bottom down here sometimes. And the flex shaft here from Milescraft, you can get down in there with a brush. So you could use a cupped brush down in there, and you could use this. Now with the flex shaft, it's a little bigger, but it does fit, okay? And I clean up the sides with a wire brush. So anyway, this seemed to work as well. Now, one of the things that's a benefit on the Milescraft is if you were going to do some engraving, this is a little thicker. This is a little smaller. So you could actually probably do engraving a little bit better. So it all depends on what you want. I like the square drive on the end of the Dremel. I like the square drive unit. I like that I can use a wrench on this, whereas on here all you can do is a pair of pliers. And like it doesn't have this has a press lock. Okay? This, you need to insert this tool through it and then twist it, and I don't know, it just doesn't get real tight. It seems like it works, but so it's up to you what you want. For a little bit more for the Dremel, like $10 more. Is that right? $10? Yeah, about 15. So I like the Dremel a little bit better. It just, I don't know, it seems a little sturdier. I mean, this is actually more flexible than the Flex. It's a little smaller, but the Dremel versus the Milescraft, it's a little bit heavier. Anyway, this is my review. Take what you can from it. I will probably keep the Dremel versus the Milescraft. You have a good day.